What's up, friends, and welcome back. Today on the show, I had Vance Elrod, and this guy is a whirlwind of knowledge, of fire, of passion, of conviction. He's an MMA fighter that fractured his orbital bone in his professional debut, which led him down the rabbit hole of how to heal concussions and CTE. And he stumbled upon this little molecule known as methylene blue, and the rest is unfolding history. We actually dive deep into what this molecule does, how it acts, everything that he's gone through in the last couple of years with a heavy metal detox, his passion for healing and helping others. And it's just there's just so much fire and so much passion in this guy, a guy that was looking down the brink of dealing with lifelong CTE that's now so turned on and so cognitively sharp. And I know you're going to learn a lot in this episode. So let's get into it with Vance Elrod. Vance, my friend, pretty fresh off a win here. We're catching you riding high. It's one of the best feelings in the world. Hey, tell me how you're feeling less than a week out from the big comeback.
Man, it's I hate saying the Avengers thing, especially esoteric Twitter will roast me, but in Avengers, after Thanos snaps his finger, he's in like his garden and it's just peaceful. For about a week, it's like that. We're kind of losing the peaceful moment, but this is why I want to hop on immediately. I was like, because the post-fight win high is just different. It's just you're at peace with your accomplishments for a little bit, and then the itch starts. It's already starting. I'm like, all right,
Yeah, of course.
I'm getting bored of being bored. I want to like get back in camp. I want to grind. So we feel good, but I'm like, I want to work.
It's an interesting feeling, right? It's hard to compare it to anything else, and there's nothing else that can really scratch that itch quite the same.
Yeah.
You posted recently on X, you understand kind of Alexander's mindset now, just the conquer and just keep going. What do you think about for the future with fighting? Because I know you had a bit of time off, and now you're back again. Like, but you're also this business builder. We're going to get into it all today, but like right now, as I speak to the man, is there more in the game? Like, where's your head at?
You're my therapist today. Dude, I don't know, dude. Fighting went from not only like my life's passion, I remember as a kid just being like, if I don't have a UFC belt by the time I hit the grave, my whole life was in vain. And I was like, that's the only way I can live. I lived like that for a decade. And then through business and through other things, I saw how like the sausage was being made. I saw how it was prize fighting, not martial arts. I lost love with the glory because I saw it was all for a paycheck and they were using fighters, and the UFC belt's just a fancy little tiara. And literally it's prize fighting. It's bullshit. And fell out of love with it, built some resentment with it, still love fighting. I got sicker than shit last year. My health took a turn. And it's just like, I don't even know. Like, I'm coming out of this fog right now, and I'm trying to get grounded again in life. Like, this fight was kind of like proof that even I could fight again.
Right.
And now the itch is so back, and all I want to do is fight. And so I will have more fights for sure. I'm going to keep fighting. I cannot go this life without that combat. It's the ultimate form of competitive outlet. It's like what my drive and my passion was, my identity for so many years. But with that being said, the backstep is now Vance is not the fighter. Vance is not this or that. I'm just me, and I do that, and I love that, and I have a passion for it, and I think it's necessary. It's the biggest vehicle for personal growth for me personally. It's when I feel closest to God is when I'm in a training camp and I'm getting ready for this big thing of like something so much bigger than myself in this arena. We're going to have this combat. He signed it, and all I can think about is this moment. And it's like one chance. And if anything goes wrong and you don't navigate it well, you break a rib in the first 10 seconds and you're not dialed, you're going to lose and feel like a failure. And it's just like, it's amazing, man. It shaped me into who I am. So I owe my life to it almost, and I love it. And yeah, I only got maybe 10 years if I'm lucky left in the game, and of competition at least. And so it's like, I need to do that. I need to spend that time wisely. And I think I need to compete more. So I want to fight more.
I feel you, dude. I had my last fight in 2013, and the itch is still there. It's still there, man. Yeah, right. I still feel it. There's nothing quite like it. But like you said, I found that as a relatively young man, and it shaped me profoundly. The discipline, the warrior mindset, the ethos, like treating yourself like a samurai, constantly rehearsing this thing, all the highs, the lows, the fear, the what if I get knocked out in front of my mom, like all of it, dude. Talk about self-development on steroids. It's really quite something. And I've heard you say that you have been blessed by adversity. And I want to talk about that mindset because it's a really powerful reframe. And you just teased it, but you popped a rib 10 seconds into the fight. What goes through your mind in that moment? And then expand on that blessed by adversity mind piece.
It's a million thoughts in a second that always happen in these moments. And the beautiful thing about fighting actual competition in the cage, and I've talked about this kind of more in depth, like not to be too poetic or scientific with it, but like there's a marrying of the conscious and the subconscious in these dire physical moments, like these moments of extreme pressure where you need a result that you are like, every fiber, every cell in your body is hinging on this result. And what happens is that subconscious voice is no longer just in the back running the show. It's like up front, and you can have a conversation with it and you're speaking with it, and it's insane. And so there's a deeper voice even behind the subconscious. I found it's so wild, and I sound like I'm just on a bunch of mushrooms, but I promise I'm drug free, baby. And this is why I like when I talk to people who do these crazy psychedelics, like I almost understand it. And I think there's the same kind of maybe chemical component where it does something in the mind where it removes that barrier and allows you to reprogram the subconscious a little bit easier. But in these moments of suffering, these moments of like high pressure, you'll find those three voices. I like to say, like, there's a deeper one even behind the subconscious. And so the first thought in my head, we were in, the back, and I actually had a conversation with the guy. He's a real nice guy. Yeah. And he was telling me how he won his last fight because he popped the guy's ribs. And he's like, yeah, I just got weird freak strength. I'm a farmer and all this. So the first thought in my head is, oh, here you go, 2-0 off pop ribs. Like, this guy's the luckiest guy in the world. And then my mind went in like this default mode where it was like, oh, it's over. You broke a rib. You're injured. It's like you go into like, okay, like I'm supposed to react to this. I felt my rib pop. Like it was just we're talking milliseconds, like these thoughts build. And then immediately my thoughts came into play. Like the Vance thoughts of like, I just watched Lone Survivor 2 weeks ago, like Braveheart a month before that, like freedom, let's go. Like suck it up, get your shit together and win this fight. Fuck your body. And that's what it came down. So it's like immediately the first initial thought was, it's over, you're done, you lost, oh, this sucks, why me? And then immediately it's the go fuck yourself, it's time to win. And so it was like, all right, my ribs popped, and you just kind of like, my mind just shut it out, like, fuck it, it's just pain. If you die, you die. Basically, that's like the mindset you have to get into. That was the hardest thing I've ever had to overcome in the cage by far. Like that was insanity. Because it hurt, it like through the adrenaline, it fucking hurt so bad. And I couldn't extend on my shots. I'm trying to land shots, and like, I mean, granted, it was an easier fight. I outclassed him, but like, man, like I could have been out of there a lot earlier. And I'm just the whole entire time I'm fighting, I'm thinking like, if we stand up, like I gotta kill him immediately, or else he's gonna ruin me. Like one knee to my rib, and I'm fried. Yeah. So it was nuts, man. So my mind immediately went to bitch mode, like always. And I think normally, like, I wasn't built a killer or born a killer. I was built a killer. Like I've done so much subconscious work because I was such a scared runt of a kid my whole life. I had a very big, aggressive, huge cowboy dad, beat the shit out of me. Like I was always afraid and timid of confrontation. I still probably am a little timid of confrontation. So that initial bitch voice comes out, and then the 90s action movies, Braveheart comes back in, takes over, and the actual affirmations come in. I'm too good. I'm too smooth. I'm too resilient. Let's go. That takes over. So yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing to experience it. What I've been through though recently, like that was just, it was the hardest thing in a fight. It wasn't even that bad though. Like I'm much more resilient this year than last year. That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like life's been a bit of a fight, and that's probably indicative of why you've ended up in the cage, but, and like you said, being able to work through this stuff in real time is a testament to the work that you've done, because that doesn't happen on accident. Because usually when that voice comes up, the inner bitch, whatever you want to call it, that's where most people would have every reason to tap out then. Oh, I got injured. But again, you'd have to live with the consequences of that, knowing that you might have been able to do a little bit more even when you're injured. Do you ever see the clip of GSP when he tore his groin in a fight and he goes back to his corner and he says, like, my groin's torn? And his coach is like, good, George, hit him with it. Hit him with it. It's like, hit him with your groin. And it, like, in moments like that, you need either these people or that voice in the back of your head to find whatever it is. Is it the Braveheart quote? Is it Maximus Aurelius? Like, whatever it is to pull from that space, and also the reps that you've put in, cultivating the discipline to do the hard thing when the voice of, the inner bitch rises up to say, like, wait a minute, I'm in control here. And, the show must go on, because it's one thing to think it. It's one thing to have an intellectual map of this is what I'll do if the plan doesn't go well. And then all of a sudden you're in Lone Survivor and you're like, okay, well, now's the time to prove it. Yeah.
It's a lot easier to have a thought of warmth and resiliency outside of the ice bath.
Yeah.
I use the ice bath analogy for a lot of things in life, but like when you're in the ice bath, you're not, it's just inner bitch voice the whole entire time.
Yeah.
So you think you're going to do all these things and you'll just grind it out and everything. But when you're actually in there, that's when the work is done. And the funny thing is when I popped it, because we popped it 10 seconds in, first shot, he shoots, rib pops. I roll under for the armbar, and when I go to extend it, I can't get it. I look over at my corner because I'm stretched out, I can feel it. And I said, my rib is dislocated. and you hear my corner go, suck it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's all I needed to hear. But the other part was I screamed out in the middle of a fight right next to my opponent and the ref who could stop the fight. My ribs dislocated. I was like, Vance.
Not the smartest
Oh
move, dude.
my God. Dodge that bullet.
Yeah, dodge that one. That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Well, talk to me about the last fight prior to this one, because there's been quite a bit of a gap, and this is that adversity theme coming up again. And it's also the inception story of Meraki, I believe. So take me back a little bit to what happened there and the crazy journey that's taken you on since.
Yeah, so I was I spent 10 years before the fight in 2022. Or sorry, it was 2022. Biohacking and honestly just doing research development, not development, but research and finding ways to improve my athletic performance, my resiliency, my longevity in the sport of fighting in natural ways, as natural as possible, because I wasn't on steroids. I want to compete with the guys that had steroids, but I wanted every advantage I could get. And this stemmed from me having IBS, but also me figuring out, like when I was 19 or probably actually 21 or 2, that you can eat carbs in fight camp and lose weight.
Yeah.
And that's what really sparked it. I heard a George Lockhart podcast, and he was talking about you need carbs to lose weight, because when I cut weight, I just starved myself, probably like 1,100 calories a day, no carbs, and then I coasted into fight weight. And I saw how they did it with science. And I was like, so you can just think a little bit, work smarter, not harder, and lose weight, perform better, etc. So I've already had like basically, I would say probably a good 8 years of not biohacking, but a lot of research. My man with the blue water, I love it. A lot of research into improving my athletic performance. So I win 2 amateur world titles. I have a lot of hype. Fighting's my only thing. And at this time, I got a little bit of a business idea, because I went to Australia, trained with Volkanovski before the first Max Holloway fight. I gave Volk 6 stitches before the first Max Holloway fight, before he won the world title. So he's world champ of the UFC, but I'm the guy that gave the world champ stitches. So take with that.
Man. A lot of that would have been some karma to pay off, if you cut up Volk bad enough.
I paid the price by sparring him after that, so I'm allowed to talk shit now, because I've gotten my ass handed to me by Volk a couple times.
What a legend.
In the most nice way ever. But I was in Australia and I heard them speaking about Volk's pay. And I remember seeing Sean O'Malley in a Lamborghini. And I left my girlfriend at the time I was madly in love with, my family, my animals, for a month. I took a month off work to go live in Australia to chase my dreams. And when I found out how much he was getting paid, it was my first moment of like, we're in a matrix. Like, what the fuck am I sacrificing my whole life for? So you're telling me in 8 years, if I get really, 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 really good, and then better, and then even better, and then I beat out everyone else with no injuries and everything goes according to plan, I win the title, I will make that much money? Like, it was so embarrassing to me. I was like, holy shit. And I had this moment where I was like, dude, what am I doing? And then I realized I was prize fighting, not doing martial arts, etc. Had that whole breakthrough I was talking about. And so I wanted to start a company where I was going to make esoteric pre-workouts. So very healthy pre-workouts, and then athletic performance subs for athletes that are clean, because I don't want citric acid and sucralose and a bunch of bullshit in them. And so I was already getting business minded. So we had a good layoff, because after my 2 world titles, COVID happened. I go in and I fight for my first professional debut fight, another tough enough champion, another world champion who was on like a few knockout wins off BKFC, knocking everyone out, in his hometown for the main event. And I was like, this is exactly my story. This is exactly the way it should be done. I deserve this. I'm going to go steamroll. My first pro fight, main event in his hometown, I'm going to steamroll this kid.
Yeah.
I'm steamrolling him. It's the easiest fight of my life. Immediately open, big check hook, head kick, drop him. I'm having fun in there. And I remember he hits me with a great elbow. I get mad in the moment, like that grit, like you hit me, it kind of wakes you up. I go to smash him. I hit him with a left hook, dislocate my thumb, break the thumb off the hand. He sits on his ass, and I almost head kick him. And I pull back the last second because he's a downed opponent. So I circle back, and I have that million thoughts in 1 second. And it was like, your hand's broken. Every time you hit him with something, he falls on his ass. You could blow him a kiss, he's going to fall down. It was like, send the right hook. Because I swear to God, I could knock a horse out with my right hook. Like, when that thing lands, it's beautiful. I was like, send the right hook, send his head off in the stands. You're going to be on ESPN. Like, here's your story.
Yes.
And I just load up the biggest, stupidest right hook ever, jump into it, and he rolls under and overhands me. And I don't remember anything. I just remember me going, throw the hook, and then me being on a knee against the cage like this.
Damn.
And I'm like, when I come to and like I'm there, I didn't get knocked out, but like just skip the frame. I kind of fast forwarded. And I remember my whole face was different. Like when I broke my rib, something's wrong. My face, I was like, something's wrong with my face. Like, it feels like my face is indented. And so he's landing these big shots on me, and I'm just getting concussion, concussive impact. And my thumb's dislocated, my head's getting dribbled off the floor. And I gave up too. And that is something that would never happen again. I promise you. And I just proved that a little bit, but I gave up mentally because in my head, the voice went, your hand's broken. Your face is shattered. You can't get up right now. He's a strong wrestler. You're trying. It was like, just curl and let the ref know you're done. And so I curled, let the ref know I'm done. I still get mad when I say that out loud right now. I'm having some feelings about it. That is unacceptable. And I ate about 20 to 30 shots. And before we took the fight, before the fight that day, my manager calls me and goes, hey, when you drop Dylan, don't try to speed up the finish because you'll get tired. Their refs are letting these fights go like crazy. They're letting people die. Well, I was on the other end of that now. I ate I think it was like 27 or so shots of just boom, boom, white flash, him fully loaded, adrenaline, stoked because he's fighting scared, smashing my face on the canvas. Ref pulls him off. And I remember the voice in my head is sitting there and the cage is just spinning like I always say, like plastic bottle vodka night. Like this cage is just like just back and forth. And I just had this thought that popped in my head, like, wow, like, all right, pro debut, you fucking lost. Your story's over, all this shit. And then the second thought was your little sister's in the crowd. Your nephew's watching you online. Your mom's there. Stand up right now. Let him know you're good. So it was immediate composure. So I stood up, tried to get composed. I'm dizzy. I go over, talk to him, congratulate him, etc. And then off we go. The cool, not cool part is 6 months after that, he popped for steroids, and it made sense. And when we warmed up and I saw him in that cage, his skin was, when someone's on a lot of tea, you can tell the skin's thicker, it's shinier, it's a little red. And we were warming up and he rehydrated, and I was like, well, he looks dense. I didn't rehydrate well. And that's something that's actually pretty crazy. Is I always had rehydration issues until I chelated metals last year. Just something that popped in this fight. I was like, whoa, that was one of the big differences. But anyways, when I was looking at him, he just looked different. He popped. And I remember in my head thinking in the ER, I was like, I think he was on roids, but I didn't tell anyone because then you sound like the world's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I didn't say anything. So when he popped, I was like, I knew it, like kind of stoked. And it makes you feel better because you're like, shit, dude,
for sure.
shattered with one shot. But yeah, he popped for roids. And then I was left with the worst concussion of my life. And I did what I always do is I tried to solve problems. Have you ever seen the movie The Martian?
Yes, long time ago. Yeah.
Matt Damon, he gets stuck on Mars and he's sitting there and he's like, I'm not dying here.
Yeah.
After a few days, he's like, I'm gonna science this shit. And that's kind of been like my life story is like, I get a problem and I go, I'm not letting this problem define me. I'm not living with this problem. I will figure it out. And then God, you better not stand in my way. If you're in the way, I will find out the answer to my problem.
Yeah. How did methylene blue end up on your radar in this? Was this previous of this research you were doing? Like, was this in your sphere at all? Was this coming from a friend? Like, how did it, because, even until relatively recently, it kind of exploded out of nowhere. So I can imagine this 4-ish, 5-ish years ago, nobody's talking about this at that time.
Exactly. Yeah. We just hit our 3-year anniversary. So we're like 3.5 years ago when the first page of Google was scary. But what I did is I had all my notes for concussion protocols. I had CTE was my biggest fear with fighting. That was the only thing. I don't want to do this and at 50 not remember anything or be declined. And I remember one time I caught my girlfriend at the time Googling CTE symptoms and it like shattered me. Yeah. I was like, what are you scared? Like I have a responsibility. I'm providing for her and she's worried about that. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? So we're having real things. So I just promised myself like I would do anything I could to mitigate it. And I remember sitting on the couch with the worst concussion of my life. And we had to fly in an airplane after the fight. It made everything worse. And I'm like, I just need to accept I'm going to have CT. I remember that being a thought. I was like, because I'm not stopping this. It's like, it's going to happen. Like, just accept it. And like, you're going to live a life of glory. That is what it is. You're put on this world for combat. And so I took all my notes that I had scattered around about concussion protocols and I put them together for myself to make it easier. But I ended up typing an ebook out of it. And I was like, this is perfect. I'll have notes for myself. I'm sending this to all my friends and family. And I can give this to anybody because people DM me all the time. What should I do? I got a concussion. I got to like send them 8 things. Like I can just send them an ebook now. It's way easier. So I typed it, sent it to friends and family, but I sent it to a few people I trusted, like biohackers and people of like points of authority that I respected in the field to look it over. And I sent it to my buddy Wes Collins after I typed it up. And he was like, great type up. Why didn't you write about methylene blue? And in my research while I was typing it, I Googled methylene blue because I heard about it in like a Reddit forum. And the first page of Google was terrible on it. You know, we're 3 years past. Back then, you had to dig to find answers. Now it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
almost mainstream benefits that you find. So I go and I'm like, well, you know, I found out it was a dye and it can cause hemoglobinemia if it's used too much. Like, it's synthetic. I don't know. Like, I don't want to touch that shit. He was like, go look again. Like, he just said it like very stoic. Go look again, laconically. I was like, all right. So I go look at it and I was like, second page of Google, neuroprotective benefits, mitigating TBI in rats, concussive impact mitigation, improving short-term, long-term memory, removing fear-based learning from PTSD rats. I was like, what the hell is this? It's an anti-aging drug, blah, blah, blah. And then I just went down a rabbit hole and I read enough, like, from the research right there. And then the few anecdotes, I did like 3 hours of research and I read enough. And I was like, all right, I ordered the powder from the UK, got here in like 3 days. I like mixed the powder in my kitchen. Don't even know what the hell I'm doing. I'm so concussed that I was asking Siri, because you had to mix like grams to liters to try to figure out the right dose. And I don't even know if I made the right dose to this day. Like, it says like 10 drops is 5 milligrams. I don't know. But I whipped up my kitchen. It was exactly 1 week after my fight. And I took my first dose. And about 5 minutes later, when you're concussed, you have an energy crisis in the brain. And that is where you get your symptoms. And so everything's black and white and gray and you're depressed, but it's not like a depression, like you're sad. Obviously, I'm sad. I lost my pro debut and like all that, but it's more of an energy crisis that you feel so low. It's like if you didn't sleep good for 3 days and you're just like, blah. And I remember 5 minutes after I took this, I got this little bit of gene, just this little bit of life back in me. I was like, oh, that's nice, but nothing crazy. That was it. Real subtle. So I go on and I stay on the methylene blue. I'm on a ketogenic diet. I'm on 40 subs for concussive, impact. And 3 weeks after that moment, I'm going to the doctor to get my final x-rays on my face to see if I need surgery, because all the fat from my eye fell and apparently you have to get that put back up. And my thumb's popping in and out of the cast, and we're going to see if I need to put a pin in. And I remember being like, dude, my brain is 99% healed. And my ego is 3x now, because I'm like, I solve concussions. I'm
Wolverine.
bro, I was like, who cuts 20 pounds for a fight, goes right into a keto diet? I didn't have a cookie, like all this shit. I'm so disciplined. I'll solve any problem, blah, blah, blah. So I remember I cut out all my subs and cut the keto diet. I stayed on just a couple, but I stayed on the methylene blue. And it was about 2 to 3 weeks after that when I had this moment. I was working in the morning. I was getting so much shit done. And I was working on my pre-workout, and I was going to construction and working and doing all my shit that I was doing back then and trying to train. And I remember just being like, I feel fucking better than before my fight. And I had this moment. I was like, I think that blue shit is the real deal. And I remember looking at it, like I literally was grabbing my yogurt jar I mixed it in. And I was like, I think this blue shit is like helping me. And then I'm like, immediately in my head, anything that's powerful comes with a price. I was like, did I just fuck myself? Did I just create an addiction? Am I going to have a withdrawal when I'm off this? Like, what? I've seen the movie Limitless. It did not look good, And I just went on this stint, and I thought I was going to do like just a little, like kind of, let me see symptoms. Let me see long-term effects, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up studying for like 6 hours straight on it. And I just like kept finding better and better and better shit. Found the history of it. I found out how it actually works in the body. I found out find random Reddit anecdotes. People been on it for 10 years. And I was just, holy shit. I was like, I don't think it was my protocol. I think it was this blue shit. And I just started to fall in love with the molecule. And I mean, like the molecule itself is perfectly shaped. It's almost absolutely symmetrical. It's like, it's just this amazing compound. And then I'm seeing all the shit on it and I'm like getting in this business mind. And I wanted to start a supplement business. And every time I post my pre-workout, I get 1 or 2 DMs, whatever. Every time I post this blue shit, I get 30 inquiries. And everyone's like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, you got to buy this powder. You got to mix it like this. And I remember one night I'm sitting there, and at this time I'd given it to all my friends and family, and I've been getting them crazy shit for years. I'm like, you gotta try high dose melatonin, you gotta try this peptide, like, and then like half of them are like, dude, this one fucked me up, and then the other, half are like, all right, that kind of works, but they knew I was crazy with it, and I was like N=1. I was biohacking my ass off, and this was the only time I gave someone a supplement. Every single person hit me back and was like, yo, what the hell's up with that blue shit? Am I on meth? Like, what did you give me? And I had to explain it to them. And I had this moment where I was like, why don't you sell methylene blue?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why don't you sell, like, it comes in a powder. It's hard to use. I was studying business out of my ass. At that point, that was my new obsession. I was like, why don't you facilitate this, remove a few steps, make the process easier? That's how every business gets started. And I looked into it, and it's a drug, and the FDA doesn't like it. And I was just no, like I eventually I realized it was a headache, and I even heard a Matt Blackburn podcast where he said PayPal shut down his account with 70K in it while he was selling during COVID, and I was like, I'm not even dealing with this shit. No, 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 no. We're not doing black label stuff, etc. And so I put it away and I started working on my pre-workout. And then it was about, I think 3 nights later, I was up one night doing my research and I read an Amazon review on another methylene blue, or Mark Sloan's book. And someone was talking about how it helped them with cancer. And I just had this moment where I was like, purpose over profits. Fuck the FDA. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say delete that. Fuck the noise. Fuck the invisible rules. Fuck the laws. I'm here to help people. I read this thing, I got moved, and I said, I want to facilitate that. Fuck this. Yeah. Let's go. I'm selling this. So that was the birth of Meraki. And we actually did make the pre-workout, and it was amazing, but we quickly became a methylene blue company. 3 years later, we just crossed 10 million in rev. We have hundreds of thousands of orders now. We actively help people with cancer. We donate free product. We help them financially. It is everything and anything I could have dreamed of that could have happened so fast. And it was like literally like fighting everything else. I was ready for 10 years of work before I got any of it, and it blew up overnight. It was the craziest thing that ever happened to me. I really don't honestly know what's going on. I'm just That's like
wild, man. You're just sitting there and buckled up and ready to blast off to the blue moon. Dude, it's so fascinating. In all of that learning, because you iterated something that kind of like is everybody's first experience of methylene blue, which is like when you first heard about it, like what is this? It's a textile dye, like it's not natural. Like what did you actually learn about the compound? I'm fascinated by the history of it, and then we can get into some mechanistic stuff as well, because it's really trippy.
Yeah, it's amazing. So back in the 1800s, they were making dyes to stain fabric, and scientists needed dyes for cells. And so what they would do is, I'm assuming, they would grab a bunch of dyes and see what happened. And so what they did is they found methylene blue and they used it. And what they noticed was when they were staining cells, it had a selective staining on some cells. It did not bioaccumulate in the cells, meaning it went away, but it also killed parasites, but specifically malaria. So when they were putting on the parasitic infection malaria, it was dying. And it immediately got grabbed by the medical community and became our first ever malaria medication. It was our first ever pharmaceutical drug, which is fascinating. So back then they were using it, and then they started using it for other things because they were finding benefits. So in the 1920s, they were using it for neuropsychiatric disorders. So manic depressive, manic bipolar, some schizophrenic work. I mean, they were using it for a lot of things, and they were finding success. And so in World War I, every soldier in the Navy was on methylene blue at that time because they were preemptively taking it for malaria. So they had a song even. They said, even in the Lou, we pee blue, being Navy blue. And so, yeah, it was amazing. So it's got this robust history, this is the same exact thing 3 years ago on Google. Oh, it's this, that, blah, blah, blah. You can't find anything on it. And then you immediately, like, you kind of sift through and you open up a crack and it's this whole world of information on it. It's amazing. It's 100 years of use. This is not Ozempic. This is not brand new. We don't know what that was going to happen. We have 100 years of use. So that's how it got issued into the world mainstream in the pharmaceutical industry, and then cannot patent methylene blue. So what they did is they synthesized it a few times, and then they ended up making hydroxychloroquine, and that became the malaria medication. They patented money off of it. Methylene blue started to go down the drain. We still use it. The WHO lists it as essential medicine, and we still use it for cyanide, jet fuel poisoning, methemoglobinemia, which could be a symptom of like cyanide poisoning, but we still use it modern day and very high doses in the medical field. And there's a lot of evidence or research on high dose use of methylene blue, but it kind of got shuttled away on low dose benefits, which is crazy until the pandemic hit. And you got your Reddit biohackers, and they do what they do. They find crazy stuff, and it started resurfacing. Yeah. And that's around the time I started to see it.
Dude, it's crazy. What do you think is its primary method of action? Is it something to do with energy at the cellular level?
Yeah, so mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell. Methylene blue at its core is a redox molecule, but it's an antioxidant for the mitochondria. So the way vitamin C works for your immune system, this is a poor analogy, but that's the way methylene blue works on the energy system. So we eat food, and that food has to get turned into energy, and it goes through pyruvate, it goes through the citric acid cycle. You basically get these two compounds, NADH and FADH2, and they get to the mitochondria. And so the mitochondria has this raw material, and what it does is it takes electrons from that raw material, shuttles it through 4 complexes into a 5th complex. And along the way, you build up some static charge and everything. And then on through the 5th complex, which is actually a mechanical process, I won't get too crazy, but those electrons going through the 4 complexes, out the cell membrane, back in, forces the cell membrane kind of turn, and it changes adenodiphosphate to adenotriphosphate, which is ATP, the body's energy currency.
Yeah.
And I won't get too crazy, there is a little bit of conflict of an argument, and it's kind of esoteric, it's kind of left field, but is ATP really our body's energy currency, or is mitochondrial water our body's energy currency? And methylene blue acts on both. And that's a fascinating topic, and you can spend 3 hours talking about. But that is how the body makes energy, is those electrons go through, and then you get ATP. ATP is what breaks off, and that actual break causes an energetic pulse almost, and that's how your body can do enzymatic functions, breathe, think, etc. That's your life force right there, your energy currency. So it's like the power bank, the actual battery in the body. And so what happens is these electrons, when you get somebody with any mitochondrial damage, will slip out of that cell membrane and escape. And they form with oxygen. They make reactive oxygen species. And those are good. You need those to break down older cell membranes. You need those to combat viruses. You need a level of oxidative stress in the body and reactive oxygen species. If you get too pro-oxidant, like they know this in athletes, their performance goes down. Antioxidant status goes up through the roof, their performance goes down. So it's redox. It's a balance. The problem is we have so many mitochondrial insults modern day. You have thousands upon thousands. You have 5G, you can get woo-woo with it. You have metals, you have glyphosate, you have polyunsaturated fatty acids that are oxidized, and you need those molecules to make up the wall of the mitochondria. And we're talking structural here. And that's why I said that 5th phase of the ATP, the complex 5 of making it's a structural thing. It's electrons leaving the cell membrane, coming back in. And if you get you can have leaky gut, you can have leaky brain, but you can have a leaky cell membrane. That's a whole other topic as well. And you get a leaky cell, and it's like you go CDR, cell danger response, chronic illness, etc. And I'm trying to keep it up top. I'm going a little in the weeds. You can always reel me back in.
No, it's great, dude. This is very helpful.
So what happens is, like the seed oil debate, oxidized polyunsaturated fatty acids. Well, those make up the wall of the mitochondria called the cardiolipin. You get a damaged wall. You get imagine a brick wall that's just crumbling and it's just bad. And you have leaky, inflamed cells. Well, more of those electrons slip out. And so they estimate like 1 to 2% electron slip out. Well, if you have 10 to 20% of electron slippage, you get lowered ATP, higher reactive oxygen species. Disease, without a doubt, disease, aging, whatever you want to call it. You don't have energy to run your body. It's the best analogy is when your iPhone mode goes in low power mode and everything gets choppy and everything. It's like it functions, it works, but it's not operating the way it needs to because it's trying to save energy. Your body will go in low power mode. And I know they'll find a term for it eventually. We know CDR, cell danger response now, when the body's inflamed and like the mitochondria actually acts different. And that could lead to Warburg effect, which is impaired cellular metabolism, which leads to cancer. Like we know that. It's a direct pathway. Methylene blue now. This molecule gets right into the mitochondria, sits there on the wall. Any slipped electron grabs it, shuttles it back in, or it bypasses the complexes, goes right to the complex 5 and can make mitochondrial water. What do you get with that? You get now something that is lowering oxidative stress and improving your ATP response. What happens there? Well, we know for a fact it signals PGC1 alpha. It's agonist to that, which is your mitochondrial biogenesis enzyme in the liver. So you start making new mitochondria with this. And when you have an agonist that actually speeds up ATP, and one of my favorite videos, the first ever methylene blue videos I watched, they show that your body will dump a little bit of nitric oxide to get you more nutrients, to actually start making more enzymes, more electron transport chains, which is those things that move the electrons through to make ATP, to throw into the mitochondria. So you get new mitochondria, you get induced mitophagy, which is the process that your body has of removing old damaged mitochondria and making new ones, and you get more enzymatic function inside the mitochondria. And that's methylene blue's magic right there, what it's doing inside the cell. It is fascinating to me. And yes, it's man-made. But once again, we're talking man-made problem for a man-made, or man-made man-made problem. You have 5G, you're on a phone, you have so many things that will inhibit your mitochondrial output, circadian rhythm screwed, etc. Methylene blue is the first thing. It's a tool. It's not a savior. It's not a lifelong thing you do. I've been off it for a while now, plan on redoing it, but I needed to test it and see how I felt off of it.
Right.
This is something you do. It will make long-lasting changes in your mitochondria. And the body is this big gearbox, right? And you get a little bit of sludge in this gear, and there's like just thousands of gears all spinning. You get a little bit of sludge here and there and there, and next thing you know, the gears can't spin as well, and they stop, and that's disease, that's chronic disease. And if you can just either clean up one of the sludge over here or like get one area spinning, usually everything else starts improving. That's why you get so many people detox and they kill parasites, everything works better. Or they remove metals, everything works better. They heal their gut, everything works better. They take methylene blue and their mitochondria output's better. One thing can have a myriad of benefits
Yeah.
because everything's connected. And so methylene blue is one of those tools where you start fixing the mitochondria, one of the root causes of all issues in the cell, every cell in your body, and you get the benefits. And then the obviously the cognitive benefits, I just massively think is because you have more oxygen in the brain too, you're having more oxidative stress in the brain. And a concussion is an energy crisis in the brain. And
Yeah.
that's why methylene blue can reverse those symptoms so fast because you're removing the energy crisis. The brain can think again. When the brain can think, it can flourish. And don't get me started on placebo, nocebo, your mind,
Hmm.
subconscious control in
Hmm.
your body. If you can think better and you have more energy in the brain to think good thoughts and you think them, everything else will improve. So it's just, it's one of the most beautiful things. I mean, I was almost destined to find in this planet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, preach, brother. I tell you, to be a testament, you're speaking like a real bro scientist that's coming with the receipts, and not a guy with CTE that's been wrapped around the head a few too many times. You know what I'm
My,
saying? And
my
that's
favorite insult is when they hit me on Twitter and like, you're just punch drunk and all this shit. I'm like, and I'm intellectually lapping you. So what's going on? Like, why don't you step it up? You got no excuse. I got them all.
I love it, dude. That was a really fascinating breakdown, and I think you've done that in a way that's helpful for me to kind of piece some of these things together. And I'm still trying to learn about this, which is awesome. And like you said, this I love this analogy of I've started to really think of dis-ease, all disease manifesting essentially from a low energy crisis. Like if your body has abundant energy, then it can heal the way it's supposed to. You can think the way you're supposed to. You can act the way you're supposed to. And if not, the analogy of the phone on low power mode is perfect because it's exactly that. Yeah, you hit that 20% threshold or whatever it is, and the screen goes dim and your speaker won't go as loud and it just can't function. You got to recharge it. And of course, there's other things here, right? The good food, the good sleep, the good training, the sunlight, the grounding, all of it. But if you've got a fundamentally broken engine, let's get something in there that can help fix the engine so we can start to run from kind of like a root cause perspective. That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, Dr. Pompa said it best. He was like, the perfect diet, and it's with lifestyle too. The perfect diet won't get you well, but you won't get well without the perfect diet. And so I
Right.
think it just kind of highlights like the man-made issues we have. And it's like, I'm not saying you need methylene blue, but it's like you do need to live almost perfectly to get out of sickness. And this is what we're talking to. You know, it's like because most people are at that 20% threshold. They don't even realize
Yeah.
how low their phone went. And you don't feel until low power mode kicks on. And most people aren't doing the right things to even get out of there. But you
Yeah.
need to do everything right, and then you need to plug that thing in the charger, which is methylene.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
There's other
Now,
ways as well, of course.
it's one of them. Yeah, it's a powerful one. And one of our mutual friends, Noah, says modern problems require modern solutions. And this is one that's modern in the sense that we're aware of it now, but actually not that modern at all. Like I said, it's been around for over 100 years. But I wanted to talk to you about dosing a little bit because we've seen videos go viral recently. That one of RFK Jr. on the plane where he's dumping like must be 20 drops in that sucker when he's flying. And I guess you could make the case that he's asking for more support because on a plane, recycled air, all of that stuff. But you said like you've used it a lot in a healing protocol. You're not currently on it. You're running experiments all the time. You've sold millions of these at this point. Where do you generally suggest people go for thinking about dosing considerations? Brian Johnson's on it. RFK's mega dosing it. People say mega dosing is dangerous. Microdosing is where the benefits are. But you said there's research on mega dosing too. So do with that what you will. Take us to school a little bit.
I've done almost every dose. I've done high dose. I have not done intravenous doses yet. Eventually, I will play with it. But I think the absorption rate oral is the same, so it's not going to make a difference. I started at I think 5 milligrams twice a day. Because I don't know. I recommend everyone go very low, very slow on anything.
Yeah.
And my method with it is you're talking about these long lasting changes of the mitochondria. Higher doses will oxygenate the blood. It reverses anemia being the last part. So it modulates blood oxygen. And it will save you from like cyanide poisoning, which will directly inhibit ATP production. So those are great, but like fundamentally cycle everything, go low, go slow on everything, like obviously, but for the reasons with methylene blue, like the actual tangibles is because you want those low, just a little bit of support for the body to then start cascading the enzymatic functions to make the new mitochondrial enzymes. So I find most people do really well and notice it 5 to 15 milligrams. 90% of people notice it immediately.
Yeah.
They feel a buzz, they feel good. This is why I have a company. It's not because I'm a great marketer. It's not because anything. It's because methylene blue works. It's amazing. The next 5 to 8% will not notice it unless they have a bigger dose or they're on it longer. So I've had people who do it for weeks. I don't know where it clicks. I don't know why. Can't tell you that. And like we could try to quantify it, but there's going to be things in the body we will never know, and everyone's an individual. There's some people just need a little bit more to feel it. There's a lot of people who aren't intuitive with their body. They don't feel anything. You give them
Yeah.
caffeine, they don't even realize they're caffeine high. They just feel normal all the time. So you have that as well. But some people need a little bit more and they need a little bit longer dose. I recommend go until you feel it, maybe just a little bit, and that's all you need. Taking more,
Yeah.
you're not going to feel more. You're not going to feel crazy. You can a little bit with higher doses, but like it's not supposed to feel like coffee. You're supposed to just support your body, long lasting,
Yeah.
to make those changes, and you'll notice the cognitive improvements. Like that's what I immediately noticed, and you'll feel better. So 5 to 15 milligrams is a great threshold where you're not tipping over into higher doses, because after about 40 milligrams and getting up there, it can become a little bit of an oxidative stressor.
Mm.
Now, if you're battling disease, Lyme's, parasitic infections, cancer, etc., it's a different hammer at different doses, of
Yep.
course. But if you are just biohacking, you just want to improve your longevity, you want to improve your cognitive function, you want to, every little low dose benefit you can think of, 5 to 15 milligrams, 3 weeks on, take a week off, has a 26-hour half-life, is the highest half-life I found in methylene blue. I think low dose it doesn't. But you take it 3 weeks, take a week off, reset, and then you do that. And then after a few months, take a few months off. And then once you feel like, you'll notice, like when you have the cognitive changes that feel long lasting, once you notice and you get to that point, take a break. Don't use it anymore and see how you
Yeah.
feel. Take a year, take 2 years off. You know what I mean? It's a tool. It's not a multivitamin. Your body needs minerals, everything else it can basically make. Anything synthetic like this, it is synthetic. Be smart and just take time off. So I did about 2 years heavy on. I
Yeah.
didn't take breaks. Chad ran some doses, drank half a bottle. I've drank full bottles, like just to see what would happen. One time I was sick and I was like, all right, I went to just like, oh, the bottle barely has any left. It was probably had half a bottle. I did like a 70 milligram dose. I was bouncing off the walls. This is the only time I took methylene blue and felt like it was a stimulant. And
Right.
I was with Noah in the house with me and a couple of the boys. I was just shadow boxing, yelling, and they were just laughing because I was buzzing. But I don't like high dose at all. I like low dose consistent. And then I
Yeah.
think you're gonna do higher doses. It needs to be for a specific need. And that's when you should have a medical professional. Always. None of
I
this
know.
medical advice. I'm not an expert. I'm a bro scientist with CTE. Just remember that. But with
Yeah.
that being said, do your research. If you're gonna do higher doses, cool. The cool thing about methylene blue, the safety and efficacy is proven. 100 years of use. We have, and I can go over any of like the things that people are worried about, but the safety is there. Like
Yeah.
your biggest risk is mixing with pharmaceuticals, and even then it's at really high doses. And it's like, so if you're doing 5 to 15 milligram doses, find me a death. It's
Love
like
that
it's
approach, dude. Yeah, that's really cool. And like you said, it's a tool and it's supplementary to foundations first. I'm curious how you've evolved your foundations first principle over the way. Like what's the 80/20 on your life now? What do you think about from a big rock stacking perspective, either lifestyle, dietary, how you build your plate? What are the things that really stand out for you?
circadian rhythm's massive. So I got blessed again last year. I hit that 20% mode again. And I think this is why I reacted so well to methylene blue. And this is actually what I wanted to point out. I kind of got lost is you have like the 99% of people who either don't react or they react really, really well to methylene blue. You get some people where they don't feel good on methylene blue.
Hmm.
And I'm starting to see those are the most toxic people, I believe. Because when you kickstart ATP, and you get one wheel turning over here, you clean the sludge, but your whole gearbox is all sludged everywhere else, and you're trying to grind it, you don't feel good. Pressure builds, and you either don't spin or you start kicking shit everywhere, and you get
Yeah.
muddy. And last year, I tipped over finally, so I have a huge mercury burden in my body. I have a huge
Hmm.
metal burden in my body, and metals are the most demonic thing in the world. Toxins are crazy. The way you won't realize how much your thoughts, your feelings, and everything are influenced by your toxic load. It's pretty insane. Um, but metals, especially, I'm focused on them right now. So um, they take about 4 generations to breed out some metals. So you already got what your mom had. Every
Yeah.
generation, it's not like we're breeding them out. We're actually adding more and more and more every generation. Metals are not 1 + 1 = 2 in terms of symptomatic symptoms. So, or enzymatic disruptant, meaning mercury at 10 IU, fake number, will cause symptoms in this person. It depends on how sensitive you are, genetically, how well you detox.
Yeah.
But we'll just say, for fun, 10 IU will give you symptoms of mercury poisoning. But if you get 1 IU of mercury and 1 IU of lead together, you will be twice or 3 times as symptomatic as just having the 10 IU of mercury alone.
Mm.
They are demonic because they literally work together to inhibit different enzymes in the body. And my favorite thing is everyone's like, magnesium, over 700 enzymatic functions that it pertains to, cofactors. I think mercury alone will inhibit 35% of your enzymatic functions. It
Mm.
will slow them down or stop them. And a lot of mercury's enzymatic functions it disrupts are neurochemical. It's excitatory. So it stops GABA. And so you become a mad hatter. And that's where we got the phrase mad as a hatter, because hat makers were using mercury to make hats, and they all went fucking nuts.
Oh, no
Insane.
way.
You become irritable, erratic, insomnia, wired but tired, depressive, bipolar, angry. It's insane what it does. And anxiety is crazy. So I got to experience a glimpse of that. And it was the worst thing of my life. So one of my new foundations right now is, by the time you're 20 or 30, man-made problems. We live in a world where you get a super physiological dose of toxins in your body.
Right.
And you need to address them. And God bless those that have beautiful genetics where they're not sensitive to them, or they detox really well. But I don't think the world is, majority of people will have these issues. And the more I dive into it, the more I find prominent health figures, doctors, celebrities who all changed their whole entire life because they got really sick over the toxic burden, and they got better. And now they're spreading awareness. And that's Dr. Pompa, that's Dr. Mark Hyman, that's Tony Robbins, that's Dr. Cleanheart. Like, a lot of these guys got sick, mostly with metals. Dr. Mark Hyman, Pompa were mercury poisoning. Josh Masson, mercury poisoning, and they got better. And so my bucket filled last year. And
where's most of that mercury coming from? All these other metals?
So we're coming out of the mercury and lead generation. So they had leaded paint, leaded gasoline. Lead takes 4 generations to breed out. Mercury, amalgam fillings, fishes, environmental mercury's through the roof. Yeah, you have them?
I got 2 of them, dude. I want to get them out.
Demonic. I'm telling you.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, because there's 2 routes you get sick with it. It's a slow buildup of symptoms and aging, and you just think you're 30 and you have problems now, but really, and here's the other kicker. These people that you go and look up who had mercury poisoning and they get it out, they look fucking amazing. Dr. Mike Hyman, Dr. Pompa, they're older men and their skin's glowing. Their eyes are white. They don't have bags on them. They look bright, and cognitively they're there. It's amazing. So just something to point out. But you either have a slow buildup of symptoms, or one day you wake up, and this was my case, and this is Josh Masson's case, and Pompa's case, and Mark Hyman's case. One day you wake up and you are fucked. And I'm the healthiest guy you know in terms of that stuff. And I was what is going on? So the amalgam fillings, my mom had 9 amalgam fillings. This is the crazy thing. Craziest thing is she had 9 fillings. She started getting them at 14. She had her first anxiety attack at 15.
Yeah.
And she's been on insomnia medication, heart medicine, antidepressant medicine, anti-anxiety medication. And she has gut dysfunction through the roof. And once this happened to me last year, I go, Mom, how many fillings do you have in your mouth? Because I think I'm mercury poisoning. She's like, oh, I got 9. I was like, oh my gosh. So we're in the process of getting it removed. You need to go to a biological dentist, because they will create a dam in the mouth and they will evacuate all the air, because they have a documentary called The Smoking Tooth. 50 years later, in a tooth with amalgam filling bonded, all the mercury is gone, blah, blah, blah. It still puts out mercury vapor. So every time you brush your teeth, you sip warm water, etc., it's bad. If I was you, and I mean, you look healthy, your skin's bright, you articulate yourself well, you look like you're vibrant, I don't know. But if I was you, and this is just coming from someone who just got out of hell, I would pay whatever the fuck they ask, and I get them bitches out immediately. And then I would start addressing metals in my body.
Yeah. Yeah.
So detox is now one of my foundations, where it's like, good sleep. Circadian rhythm is one of the first and foremost. You need to have a body that's capable of even detoxing. Some people are so sick and they go to do everything right and they still can't even detox because their body's so low power mode. And so you need circadian rhythm. You need good sleep. You need good water, clean water. You need good food. And then you need to handle micronutrient imbalances, but most of those will be caused also by toxins. And then you need detox. I think it needs to be a staple. I think by the time you're 20 or 30, you should do a hard 6-month run of detox one time. And then after that, you just keep the cleanup going.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lifestyle. You should not be chronically healing. You should not be biohacking for 80 minutes a day in the morning because you need a detox. It should be a good 6-month chunk where you go hard, maybe a year. And then after that, you just slowly add in things, here and there when you feel off. And you should, that's like, be able to live life. Because that's what we're doing here, I'm not trying to live healthy. I'm trying to live life.
Absolutely.
And be healthy when I do that.
Yeah. So detoxing, primary pathways, healthy bowel movements, good gut, lots of sweating. But talk to me about chelation too. You want to help some things along, right?
Yeah. So there's two ideologies on this, right? There's metals and minerals share the same ionic charge and they're antagonistic. And so this is one of the reasons we have so many metals is we don't have enough minerals in our diet. We don't have enough minerals in the soil. And so these metals are now coming out and proliferating in the soil. It's like how arsenic is in rice.
Yeah.
And cadmium's in chocolate. And what happens is you get that lead and you don't have enough zinc in your body. Well, your enzymes need zinc. They need these cofactors. They need these minerals. They don't have them. They'll sub in other metals. So you'll get metals in your enzymes. And the problem is You don't have minerals, they stay there forever. They bioaccumulate. It's like 50-year half-lives on some metals. It's insane. So you have to address them. Mineral balancing is one of the most easygoing, low, safe, natural ways you do. You give your body enough minerals, and over time, your body will start to release these metals because it prefers the minerals, and you'll get rid of them. And you'll go through big eliminations, like detox cycles with them. My gripe with it is I've seen mineral practitioners talk, and they're like, I've been doing mineral balancing for 10 years, and they're still dumping metals out and having symptoms. And I'm like, we have better ways. So it's like, imagine a really dusty house, and it's like, yeah, you just kind of turn the fan on low and you leave the window cracked. Why don't we go in with a dustpan? And that's what chelation is. Chela is the Greek word for claw. So you don't want to chelate right away. But if you were to chelate, you would want to do it the way Andy Cutler made it. Andy Cutler was a chemist who looked at chelation and saw the flaws. So like, here's a mercury molecule. This is a chelator. It's got tiny hooks and it floats around, picks up this mercury molecule, and take it out of your body. After 3 hours, the half-life's up. This thing goes away, it drops it. Now you have free-floating mercury in your body. Andy Cutler realized the chelators were small, they didn't do their job well, and they had a half-life of 3 hours. So instead of doing a big IV dose of chelation, which is like you literally just going with a broom and sweeping up as much metals as you can, some goes out the window, but most people have detox pathways that are closed, their windows cracked. They can't get it all out. It just recirculates. And the problem is you pull mercury out of your kidneys and it goes to your brain, new problems, new levels, new devils. It's terrible. So you don't want this mercury in very critical places or vital organs. So he invented the chelation system, anti-color chelation. You take it every 3 hours on the half-life for 3 days on, 4 days off, and you're supporting detox the whole way. And you go low and you just keep building based off symptoms. You'll know if you have a heavy metal burden. It's hard to test for, but you'll know if you chelate and you react. So if you have a massive dump and you feel like shit, you got metals. That was my case. It was terrible. It was the worst 3 days of my fucking life. If you feel really, really good on chelation, which is kind of actually the start of my rounds, when the lights turn back on, you will then know that you have a metal burden and you're addressing it, you know? And so that's where testing's so finicky, and I hate it and it sucks, but they're in your enzymes. They're not in your blood. They're not in your hair. They're not in your piss. They're in your body. It's hard to test for unless you provoke them out, and that's risky because you take a high dose chelation, and of course you're going to pee out metals no matter what. So it's like, so why even do that? Just assume you have a metal burden and take the chelator, see if you feel better.
Yeah.
That's kind of my approach. Low, 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 and slow. When we are talking chelation, is not methylene blue. You can get very, very fucked up from this. Very. This is where people like Andra, people in the health space who have done this before, you should find someone you trust and maybe have them guide you unless you are well-versed. I feel versed enough to do it, and I still got fucked up with it. And it's like, it is scary. It was a very scary time. Closest I've been to a like dark time in my head where I was like, whoa, like these 3 days, like I feel like death, like I might die. It was insane.
This seems to be an issue that people can run into when they do parasite cleanses too, right? Because they don't realize that parasites are binding and holding those metals, and then they have a massive die-off, and then they repoison themselves in the spinal cord and in the brain, and they get completely overwhelmed. So you definitely have to treat this stuff. You know, you can't change anything without awareness, all of that stuff. It's good to know this stuff, but then if you just throw a nuclear bomb in there, even if it's on the healthy side of things, you got to be careful, man. The body's very complex, and there's unintended consequences always. So I've always appreciated this idea that you're preaching here, which is like, go slow, go low. You can always go up, but if you come in with a mega dose, you can never take it out, you know?
Yeah. And so I'll give you like a 60,000 foot view, and Josh Masson preaches this. He does coaching. He's the one who kind of saved me out of hell.
Yeah.
So I give him all grace to that man. Like truly, like great guy too. And I mean, he's pretty wild with it. He does a lot of suppository butt stuff I don't like to do. So it's like, that's like one of his first big tweets blow up is just all butt stuff. I was like, Josh, like you just got on Twitter, like quit telling people what you're into already. Come on. But the guy's results driven because he was so sick. When you get life and death, you lose the suppository, like enema. It's just like, bro, I've been to hell. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I just want to live, right?
Only one thing matters. And so, but full view overview is like, if you were sick as hell, like the best way to do it, the smartest way is the first thing you need to do is calm histamine, because your body's so sick, it's reacting to everything. It's just in defense mode. It's like someone's scared with a gun and they're just shooting everything. You're like, hey, I'm here to help. You're going to get shot. Like you'll react to phosphatidylcholine. You'll react to slippery elm. Like you'll react to everything. So one of the easiest ways to calm histamine is quercetin, vitamin C. But you can get on a pharmaceutical called Detoxification. It's an antihistamine, kind of specific for the gut. This will immediately calm the histamine reaction in the gut. It will calm the gut lining, so that way it can start to re-heal. The inflammation will go down. So that's like option A if you're really, really, really sick, Detoxification. But then option B is where most people are. Is like you just want to clean.
Yeah.
Morning binders heal the gut immediately. Those are your first two promises and practices you have to do. You have to wake up and you need to bind all the toxins in your body, because overnight you detox when you sleep, right? And we're talking on top of your great foundations. And your body is dumping bile into your intestines so that you can excrete it,
Hmm.
and it's recycling bile as well. And most people have toxic bile because the bile gets recycled and there's so many toxins, just like a dirty sponge. And so what you need to do immediately is give that bile some help. So you take binders, these things like charcoal, modified citrus pectin. You could take zeolite, but I would wait for that. There's a lot of binders. There's a ton of them. You can
Yeah.
just go through, do your research. But my favorites are like Takasumi bamboo charcoal. And that's Josh Masson put me on that, and modified citrus pectin.
Mm.
Modified citrus pectin is one of the best first steps of removing metals from the gut, because the goal is remove it from the gut. All extracellular metals, you go gut first, then all extracellular metals, then body burden metals, then brain. So you go outside the cell and then inside the cell.
Yeah.
And so the gut's the first spot, though, because it's trying to get rid of these metals and it's recirculating. And that's what you said about parasites. It's like you go to kill parasites, but you already have a heavy metal burden. That's why they're thriving in you. How can
Yeah.
I eat sushi, you eat sushi, I get a parasitic infection, you don't?
Mm.
We all have parasites, but are they opportunistic pathogenic infections, or are they symbiotic relationships? You have gut bacteria. Is it good bacteria and a well balance of bad bacteria, or is it all bad bacteria? Do you have
Right.
SIBO? Do you have symptoms from these infections? Everyone's infected. We have trillions of creatures in our gut. Sorry, like it's the way it is. You have more. I think you have more bacteria than human cells. There's some crazy
Yeah.
like
It's wild.
statistic meme thing about that, but my point being is they're there for a reason. The problem is you get a super physiological dose, you get a parasitic infection, shitting and pissing, replicating in you, and you're getting symptoms. So what you do is you start to clean up around the house. The way I picture it is like you picking your chairs up before you mop the floor. So you start getting all of that gut binded metal out. And TerraShell is another thing. It's a silica-based binder. It doesn't go in the bloodstream. That'll grab aluminum. Modified citrus pectin does not bind with electrolytes. It's amazing. It does not affect gut motility too much. And it has mostly an affinity for positively charged particles like metals, like
Mm.
pathogenic overgrowth, etc., or viral debris or die-offs, etc. So modified citrus pectin is amazing. So you do that. And then charcoal 2 to 3 times a week, maybe 4, but that can slow motility, that can bind to electrolytes. So you want to be mineralizing and then binding, and at the same exact time healing the gut, doing things like slippery elm bark, taking
Mm.
glutamine, etc. That's step 1. All right, you're just picking up the furniture before you mop. Step 2, then you go into deeper extracellular killing of metals. So you can do like IMD, which is Quicksilver's product. It's a silica-based molecule with thiol group, so bind to mercury in the gut. And then you can start going to attack the pathogenic overgrowth. So you can start to do some parasite cleansing, low dose. You can mix in naturals, herbals. You can do the ivermectin femben. You can do chlorine dioxide, whatever suits your boat. There's risks with stronger things, of course. Do your
Yeah.
research, not medical advice. And then you can attack the funguses, you can attack the SIBO, and you can start ripping out the mucoid plaque layer if you want as well, and doing some colon flushing, castor oil cleanses, etc. After that's all done, then you can do liver flushes, gallbladder flushes. If you believe in those things, I'm still 50-50 on those. I don't know, but I just read how people feel after and they seem to feel
Right.
better. So I'm going to try that eventually, but I don't think you're flushing out 50 gallstones every time you do it. When people
Yeah.
show their liver flushes, they seem a little, I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still believe that there could be some benefit. So you do that. Once you have the parasites under control, you have the extracellular metals out, you have your body's like guts functioning, your bile's thin. You want to thin your bile. You want to take bile salts like Tutka. You want to take taurine. You want to take ox bile. There's another one there I'm forgetting. Phosphatidylcholine for the liver. You want to support detox pathways. And this is that 6-month stint I'm talking about where you go
Yeah.
hard. You're doing a lot. It's a fucking lot. I know this sounds like overwhelming, but you don't have to do it all. You can go slow. You can do
Yeah.
one thing at a time. It's great. Don't get overwhelmed. But if you really truly want to go into it, this is like how you hit it for that hard 6 months. And then after that, that's when you can get into chelation. That's when you can start taking things like DMSA, DMPS, OSR, and Miramide. That's amazing. Boyd Haley made it. FDA shut it down, but they're passing clinical trials. This might be one of our first ever pharmaceutical drugs that is made to treat chronic exposure, not just high
Mm.
dose, quick, acute exposure to a metal. They give you a huge injection of IV chelators that bind to it and you pee it out. This will actually get in the enzyme slowly over time, bind to mercury and pull it out. And OSR, it's also called Miramide. Boyd Haley saw that problem with the small hooks, so he made a molecule that has big hooks. It grabs the mercury and it makes an irreversible bond, and it's an antioxidant. It's an amazing
Wow.
thing. He's doing God's work. I love the science behind it. And they gave it to minors. They've done rat studies. They can't kill rats with it. It has a fucking huge LD50. Just such an amazing mind. He went and invented something, man-made solution to a man-made problem. So
Yeah.
that guy,
Yeah.
amazing. And so you get into these chelators and you go low, you go slow, and you start cleaning up the metal burden. Well, we get back into the body with all those gear wheels and you get all the sludge out and everything else. How do you think the body's going to run now? Once you
Hmm.
remove the enzymatic inhibitors, the things that are causing roadblocks and methylation, detoxification, etc., you're going to think better, you're going to feel better. Like, people don't realize, like, mercury itself has an affinity for sulfur groups. It will inhibit detoxification.
Yeah.
It'll stop your body from making glutathione. It is insane, dude, what these metals do. They're demonic. And then once you clear that, it's like, oh, the biggest things you'll see if you ever want a fun one, go do cutlersuccessstories.com and read their anecdotes. And this is just a small little 100 or so anecdotes from the thousands of people that have done it. And you read the before and afters, and you'll start to see like the same thing reoccurring that goes away finally. Consistent IBS, consistent Candida, SIBO. They kill it, it comes back. They kill it, it comes back. If you're
Mm.
killing parasites, they come back. If your gut is fucked every 6 months, you can only get it good for a little bit. That is a telltale sign that you have a metal burden. You have something else, a co-infection going on where the gut is trying to protect itself. That's why it's swollen. That's why it's leaky. It's trying to get rid of shit. It's inflamed. That's why you have parasites. That's why you have biofilm and candida and SIBO and SIFO, and you're
Hmm.
not getting better, and you don't know why, and you're doing everything right now. And now milk's making you bloat. Now meat's making you bloat. Now lettuce makes you bloat. And it's like you have something in there you need to pull out, and your body can't pull it out. The pathways are clogged. So
Mm.
that is like my mission right now that I'm fascinated with, because I just experienced hell and I came out of it. And like how I said, I did not go into shock this time when I rehydrated in my fight camp. My body bounced back so fast after I started detoxing.
Right.
And I started to get benefits just from, I did 3 rounds of chelation, and then I started just doing the body burning detox. I couldn't handle chelation at the time. And like my migraines have been gone permanently. I used to get a migraine every 2-3 months with caffeine
Mm.
or whatever. I don't get migraines anymore. My allergies are non-existent. I can't tell you that I got sick one time when I was in fight camp. I got a little head cold for 2 days when everyone around me got COVID. My candida flares calmed down. They started to go away. It was just like all these things that were like weird that I've had are starting to calm down now. And I'm like, I see the truth and
Big.
I know the board. I see the anecdotes of hundreds of people. So it's like, it's what I'm really big on right now. And I want to help people. And everyone's like, why don't you make a company around it? Well, just to be honest, there's companies who already are doing amazing. And I'd rather just them do their thing. They're doing
Yeah.
good already. If I find a gap, I'll invent something that could help people better. But these companies are doing the Lord's work. I facilitate Methylene Blue because there was a need, a gap. I'm not a
Yeah.
business guy in that sense. I'm trying to help people. So
Dude, it's amazing breakdown again. And I think you're dead on. I think all these other things that you've seen reoccurring that now don't really phase you is probably just because the system is healthy, primed the way it should be, you could argue. You know, I wonder all of this growing awareness around mold and chronic inflammatory response syndrome and all of that stuff is all kind of connected in some way. We're just overburdened. The
it
cells
is.
aren't running, the organs aren't running. I think there's so much connected here.
Yeah. And Chris Williamson's the biggest one, right? Like he just went
Right. I
down
saw that.
and like everyone's like, oh shit. And like when I heard his thing, and I don't listen, I'm not an expert, and I'm not going to claim I can save this man. I hate when people do that. And like I feel for him because I was right where he fucking was,
Yeah.
with about 10x the anxiety and depression. And dude, mine were very mental symptoms. It was crazy. And when he's talking about, I don't know how to tie my shoe, and like, man, it was insane how bad you and sick you get, and you don't even realize it till you go in there. And it's like, wow. But he is attacking kind of the symptoms. He's
Yeah.
attacking the infections. How many times are you going to purify your blood before you realize it's not the blood? How
Yeah.
many times are you going to take the peptides and try to cure the gut issue when you realize it's not actual gut issue, something else is causing it? And one thing he's not doing, and it's, I see these anecdotes daily of people who get rid of metals, and it's the same symptoms every single time, again, again, again. It's the chronic fatigue, it's the forgetfulness, it's the irritability. You can't handle sound, you can't handle light, you get a doom feeling, depression, until they get the metals out. And it takes so long. You can't just
Yeah.
take an IV chelation once a week. It takes years to get, if you have a real metal burden. I say I'm about 20% done with detox, and my body is fucking amazing right now. It's
Wow.
insane. I'm only 20% done. I haven't even gone deep into chelation and getting the metals out. Josh said that too. He was like, I started with the basics and like not only came out of hell, like rebloomed, and then he was like, I got the metals out. And you go miles and miles
Right.
apart from there. And if it was up to me, gun in my head, and I'd look at Chris, I would say metal burden, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's like, you need to address the metals low and slow, and you're gonna feel like shit maybe during it. You can do everything else to mitigate it, but like, I believe within 6 months you can start to feel better. But
Yeah.
then again, there are people that just have the issue with the mold too, and it could be a metal burden still. Could be these. They're all co-infections, not one
Yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
But our buddy Noah, dude, he just lived in a mold house. I had to
Yeah.
deal with his ass for this whole last year. You ever have grumpy? Noah is so smart. You want to know what the worst thing is? A smart dude who's pissed off, and he's gonna take it out. Noah doesn't do that. He doesn't do that at all. He's actually, I respect Noah because he suffers well. That's like
Yeah.
one of the best things. But he was a whole different person. We
Yeah,
just did
dude.
my fight in Montana and he showed up and I was like, dude, I haven't seen Noah like this in forever. And it made me so happy. We were
Good.
both suffering last year. It's kind of funny. It was just fucking pissed off car rides and everything. But
Yeah.
that guy, dude, he just removed the mold. But I believe too, he's probably got other burdens. And it's just like we have super physiological doses of these things. We need to clean them up, most of us, you know. And that's like the last thing I'll touch on, like the sensitivity. Some people are sensitive to metals, some people don't detox metals well.
Right.
They know ApoE4. Mark Hyman was talking about this, the
Right.
Alzheimer's gene, right? By the age of 70 or something, you'll have a 65% chance of having dementia-like symptoms if you're ApoE4, this gene. It was like, oh, that gene, you're screwed. Well, it turns out ApoE4 means you're going to be a poor detoxification or detoxifier of metals.
Right. Where do they accumulate? Right.
Exactly. So that's where you're getting with that as well. So there's a
Mm.
lot to it. I mean, there's so much. It is the rabbit hole of all rabbit holes I've ever found. It's twice as deep as the methylene blue rabbit hole. It interconnects, and I think it's why I reacted to methylene blue so well. And
Yeah.
it explains all my lifelong symptoms. It's insane. Like, man, it's fine now, but you'll see like in videos, my left eye droops. Wow, that's my left eye in the mirror. Sorry, I'm looking at the camera.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
my eyes
It
are so
flips you.
cool for once. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a droopy left eye. I got IBS at 17. I got OCD at 19. Some serious OCD. I had to beat it, and I learned how to. But like, it had a grasp on me for a good 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Where like real OCD too, not like clean. Like the letter R is the 18th letter of the alphabet. Like I counted everything. I could tell you
Right.
like what food I was eating on Tuesday, what the number meant, if it was good or bad, all this shit. And when I look back at like all these people who chelated, it's the same symptoms. It's OCD,
Mm.
rumination, doom and gloom, depression, gut issues, circulatory issues, um, tremors. I mean, it just starts to go muscle weakness, chronic fatigue, forgetfulness, etc. And like, thankfully, and I mean, thankfully, last year, I was so in tune with my body by a decade of biohacking and like learning my body and getting healthy and doing extended fast and knowing like when I take something, what I feel like having that like connection to my body, that I knew it was a toxin because my naturopath told me it was genetic. Doctors told me it was crazy. I'd be on an SSRI and some antipsychotic meds right now. I swear to
Right.
God, my life, I'd be in fucking schizophrenic meds right now if I did not know and have that intuition and know it was something else. And that's where I found that third voice I talked to you about.
Yeah.
Conscious and your subconscious go, there was something and man, it sounds woo woo, but it was in the base of my spine yelling at me like, Vance, you got this. It's going to be okay. Like it was
Yeah.
just talking to me and like to pull myself out of that hell. If I did not have this whereabouts of me, and this is what scares me with other people, is like, I would be fucked. I'd be another name in the system. And all of these things that just hit me all at once, it's just like, man, I can't even like explain like just how bad it got. And like, it's crazy to come out of it and to feel better now. But my point being is like, just it explained also my lifelong symptoms. Like I hit
Yeah.
puberty super, super late, never was athletic. My lower back's always thrown out. And I see this now with people with chelate. They always have back issues that go away when they chelate. I'm like, holy shit. Like how many things, like, I'm just like, I kind of laugh about it, but I'm like, how many things truly though were caused by metals now
Right.
that like I lived with for my whole entire life. And like, man, when I tell you like last year got so bad, if I missed one MMA practice, I was not making it out of last year. Like when I tell you it came down to the fucking wire so many times where I was like,
Yeah.
I cannot handle 1 second longer than this and I cannot do this anymore. It's like, I just either find a new answer or get a little bit of relief. It was
Mm.
just insane. So my point of it is, I guess my point of it is like we need to start addressing this detoxification and the toxic load in the body. It's
Yeah.
just insane. Sorry,
Ver-
rant.
ver-
Getting
No,
that.
dude, it's
That was
very
really-
powerful. It's very inspiring too. And like you said, you're a guy. I wouldn't even say this is a rabbit hole. It feels like a wormhole. You know, you're in a whole different universe with how deep you're going on this. And you know, to give meaning to the struggle that you've had too is to then pay it forward. You know, this whole cliche that the breakdown can lead to the breakthrough if you can alchemize something in the process. And it's an interesting one to wrestle with because you've got all of these practices, you've got all of these things that you can do, you've got the chelation, you've got the detox, you've got the healthy lifestyle, but then there's also this mental battle, right? What's going on between your ears, spiritual battle, what's going on in your heart, the third voice. And that's kind of like, I'd just be curious to pick your brain for the last few minutes here on how what's been some of the defining things that you've been able to do from a mental level when you're at that lowest to just stay in the fight, to start this with a fighter, to close it as a fighter. What's been the most profound things that you do to lean in from a mental, spiritual belief perspective that gets you through this?
Coming from someone who's a fighter and done hardship my whole life and overcame the craziest moments, I don't know how the fuck I made it through last year. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It was that bad. It was that bad. It was insane. I just found ways to cope, and like that movie The Martian, I was like, I will find an answer. And this is just sounds, and this is gonna turn a lot of people off, but it is what it is. Like, God had his hand on my back that whole time. I found God so deep in this. And not even Christian sense. I don't even know what to make of it. I'm not religious. I'm not like anything. I just know I'm a spiritual being. But like when now I was like coming up and like the idea of God or anything like that went crazy, it's just like I got all the proof I needed. Like I literally every moment I was about to break, he grabbed me and just
Yeah.
like that. And it turned into the worst thing ever in my life. Of course, let just if you put a gun in my head and I was like, hey, we could take away all your money, your businesses, your life. You don't get to see anyone ever again you love. We're gonna put you on a remote island and you got to live the rest of your life there and restart. And you can never come back to the States, or you got to do 3 more years in that state you were in last year. I'd be like, I'm fucking out of here, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
See ya.
I don't like I cannot go through that again. Like, oh
Right.
my gosh, like it's still fresh. And this is like why I want to talk about it now, because the other thing is with suffering, the second you're not suffering anymore, you don't remember the suffering. Do you remember
Right.
your last migraine or headache? No. Your hangover? No, you're not suffering anymore. It loses the power. And that's like how women can give birth and go back and do it. It's
Yeah.
amazing. So it's still fresh right now, so it still hits, but it's definitely, even now, it's like I forget how bad it was because my
Yeah.
life is great again. And I'm just like, holy shit, dude. My sister before my fight sent me a picture of me a year ago on my whiteboard, manic, fatigued, can't think straight, trying to write out like supplements I've tried and like trying to get to the root cause. It was crazy. But what my point is like truly found God in that. And like it's woo woo, but like it was biblical. Like it was just
Yeah.
signs, everything. And it turned into the best thing to ever fucking happen to me.
Yeah.
With that being said, I'm not doing it again. You're out of your
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it again. But with that being said, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I got shattered in so many ways and put back together with like gold glue, like that. I think it's Ikagi or whatever the
Kagi.
Japanese
Yeah. Hmm.
words. Yeah, it's what happened, man. It's like I was already connected to source, but my connection to source is so profound now. My belief in the higher power and like what is going on underneath and what's driving the spirit and the soul and the after, whatever you want to call it, that connection to source is so unshakable. I'm willing to die for my beliefs now. Like it is
Heck yeah.
insane. And the empathy I learned going through that of when people are sick, and like I'm gonna tell a sad ass story right now, but this was something good for Meraki. But we had a guy online who was talking shit about Meraki nonstop, and he was like, I don't even believe you. Prove you're a Vegas company. I live in Vegas. I'll come by. And I was like, bring your ass down. So we started talking shit. Guy shows up, and guy's battling cancer. And he's struggling to make it 2 more years so that he can give his pension to his daughter. And
Yikes.
he's finding these companies are just making a buck off sick people. And he thought we were just another bullshit. And normally I'm a fighter and I'm aggro, and I come from Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. I talk shit online. And I'm just like, fuck you internet troll. And like the empathy I have now where I look at them like, come on down. And I realized like, and I told the team this, we had a whole meeting. I was like, look at Jacob. Jacob was an asshole online, just objectively. He was being an asshole. Jacob is going through so much shit you can't even fucking fathom. The guy
Yeah.
needs 2 more
Yeah.
years to live so his daughter, he doesn't have to stress about his daughter. It's like, you guys are my customer service team. I love you guys. You're going to take shit. Stop taking it personally. This is like, we are going to be the best because we are helping sick people. So that empathy I got from that is just insane. And like to actually live through it, now I can look you in the eye when you're in a dark spot and tell you. It's like a coach who's been in the fire and can tell you what that fight's like. You can't look at me and be like, you need to tuck your chin and just throw back when you've never even been in a fight. You've never had a fucking guy in front of you trying to take your chin off. So
Yeah.
now it's like I can look at people and help them there. It's like I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but like Jacob, tough spot. Like that's the anger that I carry into my business, where that grit, where I need to make people's lives easier and pull them out of dark holes. And I don't know how to do it, but I'll facilitate it without a doubt. And that's my life work right now. I do
Yeah,
want
dude.
to, so I need to hurt people some too, but
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I want to change the game, because what I lived through is like, if I struggled and like almost didn't make it, God bless anyone else going through it. Because
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I'm great at suffering, great at suffering. So that's where we're at with
Very,
it.
very inspiring, bro. Very inspiring. I've always heard this about coaching. You know, you can only take a client on a journey as far as you've been. And
Yeah,
it's similar to what you're saying here. Now you've been to the darkest of darks, like to that point where you don't even know how you're going to make it out. And if you can come through the other side of that, man, does it give you so much more validity and conviction. Like, you can hear it when you speak, and I have no doubt that you are going to do and continue to do incredible things, man. I think the way you articulate this, and the way you're humble in it all as well, despite knowing a lot, is really inspiring and really friggin' cool, dude. And I just hope you do continue to reach more people. And I'm fascinated. I'm along for the ride. I'm watching everything, man, because you got to respect that when someone's been brought to the brink and they come out the other side. It's the hero's journey. You know, the cave you fear to enter has the treasure you need, and then you bring the treasure back home and you share it with everyone, and you're like, fuck it, more blue tongues for everyone, more healing for everyone, more hope for everyone. Let's go to the moon,
exactly.
baby.
Share it with everyone. That's the key for me. It's like, I've always been like, I don't want a pizza to myself. I'd rather have one slice and share the seven with like my closest friends or whoever needs it.
Yeah.
Much better way forward.
Yeah, and I think, in that spiritual sense, that life supports that which supports life. And it sounds a lot to me like you're supporting life. So keep hammering, brother. It's really cool. Where can people go to keep up with the journey, to look at the products, the methylene blue, the black seed oil, everything that you're doing?
Yeah, so MerakiMedicinal.com. That's where you'll find methylene black seed oil. We have a bit of trouble with tallow balm right now, so there's some trademark issues. People, once you get big in business, you see the sharks. You're out of the lake. You're in
Yeah,
the,
dude.
so we're battling the sharks, and I'm petty enough to, if you're going to inhibit my company, which is supporting sick people, I'm going to aggressively and systematically dismantle you in every way, shape, or form. So that's where we're at right there. So I'm in
Nice.
another combat right now, and I love it because I'm gonna fucking win. But Meraki Medicinal for all stuff, methylene blue related, black seed oil related. Black seed oil is another medicinal compound that I could talk for 8 years about. And then my journey on Twitter, Vance E. I post a lot more informative stuff on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on Instagram. It's a lot of fight stuff, it's a lot of show stuff, whatever. But Twitter is where I go, and you get my stream of consciousness. You get what I'm working on. And like you said, that meant a lot. Is the humbleness is, I'm not complete. I'm not an expert. I'm a guy with
Yeah.
CTE. We'll just call it that. And I'm just
Yeah.
trying to share what I found and what works.
I love it, bro. I'd call it professionally unhinged, and I friggin' love the vibe. I love it. So keep doing you, man. Everybody go check out Vance. He's a riot to follow online, and obviously, as you've gotten this far, a wealth of knowledge. So thank you, brother. I really appreciate you for joining us, and you lot stay radical, and we'll see you next week. All right, friends, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Radical Health Radio. We got a fresh new podcast for you every Wednesday. If you enjoyed the show, consider liking, subscribing, reviewing, and rating us on your podcast platform. It helps to spread this message of radical health. We'll see you next week.